Pec flips.
What's that?
Pec flips. Sorry.
So you had that in, so you do pec flips.
That's it.
Ready, go.
Next movement. Pec flips. And chill. Well, you know what? I think the main thing is, mate, I don't want to look like every other freaking fit pro who goes, you give those 15 reps and biomechanically speaking, I'm bored. Now we're going to move on into a tire flip, hitting the glutes, the quad, boring. Cardio isn't the only way to burn fat. There is a better way. We're going to show you exactly how to do that with the 25 most effective muscle building fat burning workouts. This is Steve Walker here today with First Man, showing you our 25 best exercises for building muscle, burning fat. If you're new to the gym and you just want to get that metabolism going, here are the basic movements to get you started. First exercise we're going to do is a super basic movement, seated row. You're going to grab the handle on the top and you're going to make sure that you drive through the leg and then pull the handle into the stomach. Let the hands come forward first and then move the body in through the legs. Okay, the next movement we're going to do is a proper metabolism blaster. We're going to go from a press up into a sprint, pumping the blood all into the chest and then pushing it into legs. What this does is promote something called peripheral heart action, which sends your heart rate through the roof and is going to absolutely turbocharge your fat burn. So we're going to do a countdown on this one, starting with 10, moving all the way down to 1. You're going to do 10 reps, followed by your sprint, 9 reps, followed by your sprint, all the way down to 1, then rest. Now we're going to move on to battling ropes. We're going to start using both arms together, and then we're going to move into an alternating motion. The idea is to get a rhythm going with this to really ramp the heart rate up. You want to feel the lactic acid burning in the shoulders. Just as it starts to hurt, give it a little bit more. Our next movement is our rotating medicine ball smash. Now you might recognize this movement from a certain movie that's been out in the last couple of years. If you can guess which movie that is, write a comment and stand a chance to win a 1-month supply of the protein-packed 50% and above M-Eat Biltong. Next up, one of the greatest fat burners out there and awesome for creating flexibility and stretching out the muscle is swimming. Kicking off with breaststroke, working your chest, working your back, working your core, working your legs. Also a little fact, when you're in water, you burn more fat. Next up, we've got a good old classic, Russian twist. So you're going to make sure your foot is anchored, or feet I should say, are anchored beneath something. You're going to grab a kettlebell, keeping your trunk halfway up so there's a constant tension on your core. You're just going to rotate from side to side, building up the lactic acid, really feeling the burn in that stomach. So the next one is exactly what it looks like, just sprinting outside, and when we change terrain and we sprint upstairs, we really increase our heart rate. In fact, one of the best ways to shred fat in the gym is a Stairmaster, but you know what's even better? Getting off your bum, getting outside and running up some freaking stairs. Like a scene from Gladiator. A better looking version of Russell Crowe. Shuttle runs, turbocharging that heart rate again, going from speed to stop to speed to stop is going to whack that metabolism and send it through the roof. Once you've mastered the basics, you can move on to the intermediate level, where there's a little bit more risk factor, a little bit more skill factor, and a whole lot more burn factor. Next move is a Turkish get-up, an absolute classic for full body fat blasting movements. This one really challenges your stability, it challenges your balance. The secret to this movement is to keep your eyes focused on the kettlebell the entire time. If you lock the arm out, you have bone sitting on top of bone and you can control the movement. If you allow the arm to bend, it becomes almost impossible. Take your time with this, keep your eyes focused on the weight and nail that core. The next movement is a deadlift. If you ain't dead, you should be lifting. For this movement, you need to make sure that the power comes from the glutes. You want to pull those shoulder blades back. You want to take the slack out the bar and you're going to thrust that hip forward. It's all in the hips, baby. All in the hips. The next movement we're going to do is a Russian twist variation, focusing on the side of the abs, smashing those obliques. If you want to see those little diamond shapes coming out by the side, this is what you're going to do. You need a barbell and you need a landmine, which is something that the barbell will actually sit in. If you don't have a landmine available, do it in the corner of a room, but make sure that the wall is padded to avoid scraping. Next move is a lunge into press. Once again, we're pushing the blood from the legs into the upper body, from the legs into the upper body, which stimulates that peripheral heart action, massively turbocharging your fat burn and of course increasing your cardiovascular skills. Next movement is a single arm snatch. So you're going to generate the force from the hips, you're going to drive all the way out, you're going to punch your hand through the kettlebell to the sky. Make sure that you drive that hand through to avoid the kettlebell whacking on the back of the forearm. Next up, we've got sit up into medicine ball smash. This one's going to require a lot more power when sitting up quickly and throwing the ball, and obviously make sure you catch it without it smashing you in the face. Now we're going to move on to the squat into shoulder press. Now this one requires a lot of focus because you're going to drive with the squat through the heel, driving forward and upwards with the hip. And then you're going to carry on that momentum, driving the bar off the traps all the way up to the full lockout movement, back to the traps and back down into a squat. Make sure that you really brace your core as you press up into the sky to avoid hurting your back. Moving on now onto the advanced movements. This is where you're going to see the best ways of burning fat, but you've got to be ready for this. You've got to be all in. You will not find a better circuit for shredding fat than what we're about to show you. We got the Sinister Six. 6 power-packed, fat-burning, muscle-building, monster anabolic movements. Starting with a clean and press from the ground, driving up into the air. As soon as you've done 6, straight into your pull-ups. Make sure you fully extend those arms so you hit all of the back, bringing it right up to the top, squeezing the handles into the chest. As soon as you're done with 6 of those, you're going to grab your dumbbells, you're going to move into a clean and press. Get the arms at the side, pull those shoulder blades back, puffing that chest out in a strong alpha posture. Straight into a wide grip pull-up, making sure that you really get a back like a barn door. Grab in that underhand grip, wide as possible, and really feel the squeeze deep into those lats. Now into an upright row, and this is the part where you really grow. You'll see the blood popping in the chest, the shoulders, the back. This is where you go beast mode. Straight into a tricep extension, just to squeeze the last of that remaining blood straight into the triceps so that you walk out the gym 6 foot wider. Next up, we're going to move into a single arm sled drag. Tie your TRX to the front of your sled. You want to push your arm out with your palm facing down, squeezing those triceps, and you're going to pull in nice and strong, hitting that back and hitting those biceps. Next up, putting a super into superset is a sled drag into sled press. You're going to grab the rope, you're going to brace your core, feet hip width apart, one hand over the next one, using the biceps, using the back, using everything you've got to move that sled as quick as possible. As soon as that sled gets to you, don't muck around. Driving it forward, driving through the legs, through the toes, through the heels, quick as you can to the other side. Moving in now to a tire flip, another full body fat burner, a variation on the deadlift. You want to get nice and low, hands underneath the tire, get your bum as low as possible to the ground, and you want to drive up with power through the legs, jumping as you flip the tire over. We don't waste any time. As soon as you're finished with a tire flip, you're going to go straight into a farmer's walk. Dive inside the tire, grab the handles, pull those shoulder blades back, puff out that big bad boy chest, and off you go. Next up is the PBP. Press up into burpee, into pull up. Make sure that you press nice and low. Drive the feet out in the burpee, straight up into the air, into your pull up. Next up is the exploding plyometric push up. Use a medicine ball, drive up with one hand, make sure you land down on that ball with the other hand. Drive up, land on the other hand. Moving from side to side, stabilizing with that core, generating as much upwards force as you can. Ever wondered what would happen if you crossed the DNA of Arnold Schwarzenegger and Bruce Lee? you're about to find out. Welcome to the elite. Next up, handstand press-ups. Make sure you plant your feet about 2 foot from the wall, and you want to drive up, flip the feet off the ground and drive up into that handstand position. Then you want to slowly come down to your head, it's just above the ground, drive up powerfully through the shoulders. This works your core, it works your shoulders, it works just about everything. Moving into the shoulder sled drag, put the strap on the shoulder, face forward, keep your core nice and tight, and away you go. Finally, we've got sled sprints. You want to give it everything you've got on this one. Make sure you load up enough weight so that giving it your max, it takes no more than 15 seconds.
Yeah, buddy, lightweight.
Next up, we've got wall stand, handstand, push-up. No, it don't work. Next up, not for the faint-hearted, is a burpee into chin-up. Make sure that you drive your feet out after that press-up, jump them back in.
It's pull-up, isn't it? I was thinking we didn't do chin-ups. Is that chin-up? We did pull-up, it was definitely like that.
It's overhand, yeah.
Yeah. Alright, ready?
I thought, yeah, cool.
Go.
Next up, not for the faint-hearted, is the burpee into chin-up. You're going to get in your press-up position.
Chin-up again.
Pull-up.
Yeah, pull-up.
Right, okay.
Go.
Next up is a burpee into pull-up.